I get down.
Padahal apa tur? Kepala anjing sini
Lo mah dapat apapun masih masuk.
We haven't seen Austin in quite a while, even though it's a very 50-50 map. And then mine, it's like, okay.
A の意志に勝てるとでも?
Halo, welcome back to Akira Pensi. Sebelumnya kok di sana? Oh ini. Oh, nice. Kecilin dikit. 30-an.
To 4. That looked like a complete destruction, a complete deconstruction of DFM, for example. PaperX, we haven't seen that so far, and they always try something interesting. You know, they brought in the Honda in the past. How does that work out now, especially with like Ye starting to pop up again, Darien starting to show up a lot more of the support? It's gonna be something that you really want to keep your eyes on, because these players like Zest, Darien, Ye, for example, can really bring so much to the team. PaperX, on the other hand, it's like, you're not quite sure. They start off really strong, but ever since that loss against Team Secret, I'm very nervous, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen, right? I mean, we haven't seen, I mean, this is a matchup that we have, you know, seen in like the old days of APAC, right? Granted, those are very different rosters, but I mean, at one point, I believe Brenda was on like both teams, right? He does have history with both teams.
Really long time ago.
A really, really long time ago. Back in my day, VCT day. But yeah, Tita coming out here. But yeah, I do believe like Bleed has never ever been Rex. But again, they did not have this powerhouse of a roster. This is a roster that I keep telling this to, like, you know, for example, we were discussing this with Paper Thin. On paper, this roster actually works. It's just that the chemistry is not quite there yet. Right now, let's jump into our predictions, though. You know, sometimes like we write up predictions. Wait, what is that question mark? Hang on, production. What is that question mark? Okay, so as you can see, very clearly there is an underdog here, and we are favoring Paper Rex for very obvious reasons. What is that question mark? We have to know. We have to know. I remember like when production asked me for like my predictions.
Yeah, that's what it.
And I said, can Azurai go first as it was written? Azurai Gaib. So our Muad'Dib says that it's going to be a Paper Rex here, as it was written. He gets his own separate prediction at this point. So Quack, do you think that is that will come true to be, even though he's on the casting desk here on the panel?
The prophet says so, and we gotta believe him. You know, I mean, like that's the only prediction that actually matters. So yeah, Paper X today, I guess. But I do feel that actually Bleed has a really good chance because you never quite know what kind of surprises they might have. On Vine in the past, they've played with a lot of like post-plant lineups. They're very patient, very EMEA/EU style influenced team, and PaperX sometimes can get a little bit too tunnel vision, too aggressive, and that's where the lead can actually strike against them.
That's very true, Valdez. And what do you think? Is this going to be a very one-sided match?
I don't think so. I think that lead definitely are ramping. Perfect storm for them to slowly over time to build up. And yes, like the predictions will be like, okay, we got to go for one team. We have to choose one. PaperX, I think, it kind of makes sense that everybody is going for them in this case, but I wouldn't count bleed out. I would say that they definitely have a chance here, and it is going to be a pretty interesting match. It's up to them to make it interesting.
And you're not just saying that because we have Legia over here joining us on the desk, right? Legia, please come on. We have a quick we have time for a quick interview with you, and you get Tacti Bear. Hello, nice to see you, sir. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. You have this Tacti Bear here. You may take custody of him. for the time being. So of course, this is a very big match. You guys have a very big week actually. Can you let us know how the team is feeling coming into this final week of the regular season?
We feel okay, I think. Obviously we didn't have a great start in the league, and I think it also comes to that we only had like 1 month with the team, and our communication is also not the best, so it like takes a little bit time to get like all the maps like together, I guess.
I like that you brought up the communications because I was quite curious about that, because I believe in an interview Darion said that it has been getting better, and we do see that coming into play with the matches of lead, right? Can you compare how the team was like from day one of stage 1 versus like the team now? Like how far have they improved?
I mean, it's really, I'll be honest, it's like still a lot that we need, especially like because of Zest. I think his English needs to improve, but he's learning himself like every night after practice. He goes in his room for 2-3 hours, just really practice English, and I think that helps. Obviously, it improved a little bit, but to play on this high level, you have to have like a little bit more fluent communication than what we do, especially because if you have game plans, you need to adapt during the game. You don't always play like your regular game plan that you have in practice, so you have to adapt, and then like if there's some small mistakes in the communication, the round gets a little bit lost, and I think it showed a lot in previous games. But yeah, we just have to keep going and keep improving, I guess.
Yeah, there's an additional layer that, of course, the team has to go through because of that, right? And to do it in such a short span of time as well is quite difficult for the team.
Yeah, I was curious for you as a coach, talking with your team, you know, day in, day out, and you know, even during the matches, how does your job as a coach really factor into this team, and like, what are you doing in order to try to like get your team in the right mindset and in the right place to, you know, slowly improve over time, and especially coming into a big week like this against a couple of big teams, like how do you get them mentally prepared as a coach?
I mean, I think I don't think I have to do that much in case like preparing them mentally. I think everybody has to find his own way of how to deal with pressure, with all the stuff that the community is saying or whatever. Like everybody himself, I think individually has to do it. I think that we should have more confidence than we showed before, just because of our practice results, because they are way better than we actually showed here. And I think also that was partly a little bit my mistake, because I tried to do a little bit too much focusing on game plans for our previous games, which like was a little problem that I said, like with the communication, that we could not really adapt, and we made small mistakes in our default. So I said we will just focus on our game that we play in practice and see what the outcome is, because we really show much better games in practice than we do on stage. Of course, there's like on stage you have a little bit more pressure and all these things, but it's okay. We are professionals. We have to deal with it somehow and find a way how to deal with it. So yeah.
Right, and if anything, I do have a little bit of question. I think a lot of the fans, so we've all kind of heard about Ye and the Chamber, right? Does he want to play Chamber or not, and why? Like, sticking him on Duelist? I know Darren can Duelist as well from like NYG days.
If Chamber would be a really strong agent, more teams would play him, okay? That's the first thing. I think Chamber is not really that good. On some maps he's viable. You can play him on Lotus, for example. I think last shows also pretty decent performance on Sunset. But I think first of all the agent is not that good, and second of all, Ye himself doesn't want to play him also. I offered him and gave him the option if he wants to play it, if he feels more comfortable on it. He said no, he feels fine on race. I personally think also he's good on race, especially in practice. His performance is actually really good in practice, and I think for him it was more of a pressure kind of thing. He's a very, very famous player, very big following, and there's a lot of negative comments about him, and as a player it gets into your head. Doesn't matter how much experience you have, it will be in your head and it will haunt you. Especially for him, it was a quite long period. Hopefully we broke the ban now and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with, right? Especially since, you know, it was one of the biggest news, of course, coming into VCT Pacific. I wanted to ask you, like, is there a player on Bleed that surprised you this season, whether it's in-game or out of game? Is there a player that, like, caught you off guard during your time here in Seoul that maybe went, like, the extra leg for the team?
I mean, not really. Like, if I judge our performance, obviously I cannot really point out. I think Scary plays a very good tournament so far. He has very solid stats, also being the in-game leader and still putting up these numbers, I think is very good. But I think there's like still a huge gap for every player, and we have so much to improve still. So I'm really looking very confident for the future. Also, maybe for Split 1 it will be a little bit still too early. I don't know if we can really show our full potential in these last 3 days that we have now here. But I'm pretty sure that for Split 2 will be.
So you have a pretty difficult week ahead with Paper X and then DRX, but it feels like, in a lot of our opinions, that Bleed is slowly getting better and better, and PRX obviously just had that pretty big loss against Team Secret. So how do you feel like your guys' chances are coming into this match?
I mean, I definitely think that we have chances. Obviously, they are on paper the stronger team, there's no doubt about that. But I also think for us, playing the stronger teams and being the underdog might be in our card maybe a little bit. And for them it will be a little bit harder. Maybe they have a little bit pressure. I think they have to also win this game. Or if they lose both other games, they don't make it to playoffs. So we will see. Like, we will just play our game, we will enjoy it, we will have fun, and whatever the outcome is, that's it.
Well, I hope you have a good game, sir. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join us, and best of luck to the team.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Good luck, good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
All right, that was a lot of insight from Legia, because we know, of course, that this roster has, like, you know, it's almost like Hydra. You have like so many different heads, you have so many different ideas from different regions as well, and we're seeing, you know, through that interview just how many layers you actually have to pull back for a team to come into fruition.
It actually felt like a really earnest, heartfelt interview. I mean, he was like really honest about, like, okay, we still got gaps, we're still improving, but, you know, I think we have a good chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like, you know, this team, it feels like they still haven't reached their full potential. I think Legia knows it, we all know it. We've seen glimpses of their greatness from each individual player as well, right? It's not their final form. I just wonder if it's too late, you know, like, can they do it right here, right at the end? Because there's a couple of difficult teams they have to go up against, but I don't know. Maybe this is their week.
A bigger win if they can actually make it happen.
It'd be crazy.
Well, one step at a time first. It is going to be Bleed versus Paper Rex, a matchup that I believe a lot of APAC fans have been waiting to see on a stage this big. So let's get started as we enter week 4 of VCT Pacific Stage 1.
Jangan lihat nih, jangan lihat. Jangan depan.
Bleed Esports. Paper Rex.
Bleed versus Paper Rex. You know, both of these teams want to see themselves at playoffs. So it's time to see if Paper Rex bleeds today or if the Rex can still be king. Quack, how are you feeling seeing two Singaporean teams on that VCT Pacific stage?
Kind of proud, kind of proud. I know that there's like a big Bleed watch party back home at Scape as well, so like hello to all the people there. But yeah, I mean, this is a very good chance for Bleed to show us what they are made of. They have made a lot of improvements.
Scary,
We heard from the
ngeri.
coach, the
Yeah.
fixing in communications. You got Zest back in on the map of Ascent, but everyone has been
Like,
improving all along
yeah.
the way. Darian, Retla, and even Scary as the IGL.
Yeah, I just feel like, you know, it's kind of a perfect storm to give us a really interesting match. If Bleed had not been building up and if Paper X hadn't taken a rough loss, maybe we would come into this one and say, oh, Paper X is going to 2-0. It's not even going to be close. But it becomes an interesting match just because of what we have seen in recent weeks. And, yeah, Paper X still the favorite, but who knows? I like that question mark.
Yeah, who knows indeed, because we've talked a lot about the rough waters that Bleed, you know, they're going through, but Paper X is also an interesting case because we really do see rosters in VCT that go through a roster change and then they roll back. It's very rare to see that, right? So even though Jing was gone for a few months, you already see the effect. You already see how much Paper X need to rebuild before they're able to get back everything, right? There was still time lost.
Yeah, a little bit shaky. You know, the race performance is still incredible. Actually, you can compare him to Ye a little bit in some of that respect. But coming back into this, how does he look on Ascent? We haven't seen that in a long time. But he has improved a lot in that game against Global Esports. So what's it going to be like today?
What is it going to be like today? We're going to find out as we head into Ascent. So let's toss it on over to our casters, William and Asarai.
Scary
Thank
doang.
you very
Yang
much.
dibeli
That's
yang
right,
bagus,
William.
scary
With Ash right
Zest.
here, it's our first time getting to cast together. So welcome, welcome. And it's the first time we're going to have two Singaporean teams competing against each other here at VCT
Bikin
Pacific.
kopi bentar
Absolutely.
kali
I'm
ya.
super excited to see how this kind of pans out because we haven't seen Bleed and Paper X actually go up against each other for like, what, 2 years now at this point? And even that tournament wasn't really an off-season tournament, wasn't Champions or Masters. This is where it really starts to kind of show who gets into maybe the route going to Shanghai.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big deal, especially for a team like Paper X, who's always kind of had that spot, right? They usually always had it locked in pretty early on, but now it's not necessarily true anymore. Paper X does have to perform well today, and then Bleed, of course, they have to win kind of throughout the entire weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to also add right now that, you know, out of all the iterations that we've seen from Bleed that has gone up against Paper X, the one kind of standing factor has been Durian. He's been playing with this team for the longest time, and now as we head into Ascent, is he going to be the one to kind of lead the charge? Well, alongside Ye, who's going to be playing on the jet.
Yeah, I mean, Bleed's been looking very confident on this map. No big surprise there with the likes of Zest and Ye, their comfort zone. But Paper X, bringing back a bit of an old comp. I mean, 2023, they used to run Ascent now with the Fade instead of the Sova, but they used to run that Sage for Jing. Now, a lot of people used to wonder, you know, what does Jing play on Ascent? It's always kind of been that Sage if they ever really needed to play it consistently. And I was wondering, you know, do they bring back the Raze maybe even here? You know, stick with the Gecko, things like that? No, they're scrapping what they had at Masters. They're going back to the Sage.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not bad at all. We've seen how, effective the Sage has been for Paper X on maps like Icebox. It's a great tool to just kind of complement the aggression that is Paper X, right? And since the Sky isn't always viable on certain maps, Sage, I think, is a get-go. And of course, you know, Jake, he's the Battle Sage. He's personified it. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, he's out there, he's up there, he's everywhere with that Sage. So we'll jump right into it. It's going to be map 1, Ascent. Coming out, Bleed's pick, going with what seems to be their most confident map so far, and it's no surprise, you know, even going off of Legia's interview just now, I mean, this is the map that most of these players will have played on for so long. All of them have a very long history here at VCT, so they can kind of stick to the basics. They will be starting on attack.
Bayangin nggak pakai KD loh, malah pakai Sage, nggak tahu lagi.
Undetected by Paper X, so moving forward into this, Bleed still gotta have that kind of cautious mindset, knowing that there's a reason why we see the Sage now for Paper X.
And triple Sheriff start on attack for Bleed. I mean, we see some of these agents, you know, go with the Sheriff early on. But, I mean, yeah, Jets, yes, they pick up the Sheriff, but you're on attack. You're going to go in without the Cloudburst. You're really banking on having a good setup, as Bleed's just going to make sure that they take over mid. Now, this is something that Bleed's been consistently doing, is really pressuring mid from the pistol round early on in each round.
Yeah, 100%. Now, rest of Bleed charging up onto mid. Pizza contact for the moment. No one's home for now. But look at this. The door's been closed on Market, and Jing still has a wall. So if they try to explode onto that A site, you know that a wall is somewhere there to kind of just stop the flow of Bleed.
Yeah, and with that door closed, with the 0.9 getting anybody without any contact on A main, Paper Rex has a decent idea. They've got a feeling that it's coming. Now when that smoke coming out, they're fairly well aware that wall's going to block. Oh,
nice.
a pitch coming in from Divide right through the smoke as well. That's a double kill. Onto the site though with the Sheriff. Yay, not able to land it onto Jay.
One more, and that's going to be Scary and Retla trying to do the best that they can. Leaving Mindfreak alone in this one, so somehow Bleed manages to pick up the pace, take the B side, plant the spike down, and force Mindfreak into the 1 versus 2. Does have a dark cover to play something, as well as the pickup on that Sheriff. Knows that Retla's low. If he can get the first pick, that's going to be good. Sees the shots, has the bullets, and actually gets the pistol. Mindfreak clutches with 25 to spare.
Yeah, a little bit of a smile this time as well. You know, just a little bit of a jolly start for good old Mindfreak. Great awareness there. Saw the second shots coming out as well. Knew the second member was also Boathouse on the same side. Just goes for the repeat, lines up the cross driving. Oh, they line up perfectly for that. Great time from Divide. And Jing even hitting the numbers. That, of course, helps a lot in this 1v2 clutch. It's a close one, but the Sheriff, eventually, it goes to hurt Bleed in the end.
Yeah, I like that too. Just hyper-focusing on the wall itself. If you put that wall specifically there and everyone, you know, comes through on the stairs, people that will be coming from pizza will actually have that first contact, I believe, on the stairs pushers. So, really good. How do you call this? Circumventing of Paper Rex of the push of Bleed.
Standing ahead.
Well, the early wall this time, of course. Now with the anti-eco coming out from Paper Rex, they know that it has to be pistols. Sure, there was a plant, so a force buy wouldn't be completely crazy. Early flash by Divide as well, just to relocate, just to buy time while he wants to explore a different angle. You do have something pushing out very far in mid. Does have that Guardian in hand, though.
Yeah, he's totally confident with this one. Jing might be in trouble, though. Does get that refrag quite quickly. Wall does stop the rest of Bleed from coming into the B site, but Forsaken's already on the case, gets the first one. Zest tries to challenge, but now Forsaken is very aware. Looking into the position of the rest of the Bleed players, are coming in onto A short, using that false kind of contact for Zest, who has the spike on B main. But then biting into it, and that's going to be the drop onto the spike.
Now both members spotted as well. And during all of this, you had Mindfreak already clearing out A main. So even if they eventually got into the site, it was going to be a pretty easy round, as something will clean up with a triple kill. 2-tap, 2 kills with the Guardian. He's building up towards that blade sword.
Yeah, this is what we've seen from Paper Rex for a while now, right? They're not just angrily pushing in to get that contact. We've seen this a couple of times now, even in their match against Deep Secret, where they like to just control the zones, specifically around the map a lot more. And of course, you know,
Tokopedia Tower, rame banget, rame banget.
Love to see it. Very, very hyped up. We're only into the second round. It makes it look like they've just won, you know, a crazy
champions already.
Yeah, champions or something like that. But now here
Tadi
we go.
di shot bentar
got the rifles.
kopi.
You can start to really pressure with your defaults, and they are going to wait, obviously.
DJ bentar dong.
Coming in for Paper Rex, see if there's a push out. But because of the early investment in round 2, Paper Rex, I mean, it's 4 rifles. It's not exactly quite a bonus. It's more or less a buy round here.
I also have to ask, because I'm not entirely sure about what's happening, but of course, first and foremost, contact. Scary's good. The double swing, he's going to get overwhelmed. That is 2 down on A main. A possible sign here for Bleed to start moving their forces onto this right side of the map.
Oh gitu ya, udah aku bantuin lagi nanti sama saja ya. Oke, itu mainnya ngambek gitu.
You always have to be ready for trade. Rarely will Paper Rex ever be peeking out alone, right? If they're pushing, there's going to be someone for the trade, so Bleed ready for a second member. That's going to be a really big see if they can make this a flawless as Ye dashes in. He's not able to land the entry kill. Divide seeks right back into the smoke. No one's been able to get in because of the... and he goes out for another kill as well. Now down to 3 members. The fragment and then the double from Divide, doing wonders for Paper Rex here on the bonus.
That is beautiful. I mean, there's a little bit of damage onto the remaining players. Sure. Might give a chance here for Jing if he somehow manages to pick up a weapon, which he cannot because everything's just been either dropped A main or inside the site. He still has Sheriff. He's still got the wall. You can't see maybe aware that someone could be lurking around. Now that they've done with it, it's a 2-man push onto Heaven. There's the contact. Both of them get the pick. And the wall right in front of Zest. You don't got an Odin to break it, and that's going to be the trap. Done. Set up. Paper Rex gets another.
Apa itu, Le?
Oh man, my heart breaks here for Bleed because Retla peeks out. He catches sight of Forsaken just coming out of Heaven, but that actually makes Bleed believe that the retake hasn't really started yet, and Jing's already all the way past. He's ready to go for the drop, and they have no idea. I mean, that peak actually cost Bleed a little bit, and you can't blame Redla.
Iya itu ya udah bantu lagi kalau gitu.
Great fragment.
Nanti kalau ada apa-apa nggak bantu lagi.
Stranded on an island. That leads all the way to the 2v3 retake.
Nice sekali Ji.
That Sage, I mean, it's been a little while since any of these players, I'm sure, have played against the Sage on Ascent. They gotta have to start accounting for that wall to come up.
100%. Recon Dart gonna be broken for something. The jump up, he's very aware, but same could be said for Bleed as they were just jump spotting that little bit of contact. Everything else kind of just it's a little bit straightforward here for Bleed as they do put a smoke on mid. Maybe just work their magic there, but just ready for it with a Recon Dart.
So, because they have no Killjoy, Paper X, they're always trying to find a way to leave mid open, right? Whether you're hanging far back with the Silva, whether it's pushing out of other parts of the map. And that's something that Bleed, I'm sure, is aware of. They would love to pressure mid a lot more, but with an op like that, it's not going to be easy. They have to start to push and pull in other parts of the map like they are right now. Wait for Paper X to falter just a bit.
Ooh, this is the perfect time if they actually want to push for mid now, because Tailwind's already be expended by something. So if they want to actually go that aggressive, something also has to put himself on the line for this one.
Forsaken, nice.
He's getting these really nasty kills on those dry peak contacts.
So the plan here from Bleed was to leave Ye as long as possible in that courtyard. Oh, but it's going to be something still on A side as well. So, I mean, no matter what the plan was, it's breaking apart for now.
Okay, kalau gitu nggak aku bantu lagi kalau ada tugas.
You do that to go for a fake, but if not, he goes for the pinch too short.
Gitu mainnya.
It's a good option for Bleed, but he gets picked off because he's already down right by the stairs. He doesn't really have a way out. Forsaken catches sight of him, and now Bleed, they already invested in the half armor this time. They decided to play up again. That is going to cost them only maximum 250 credits on Darian, and that's it.
This is exactly what I was asking a while ago, like how, you know, just adept Forsaken is on his Sova for the moment. But it seems like right now, the needs of Paper X for him to hold that mid as a Sova has been pretty good so far.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen it, but he's usually favored the Fade, right? And usually it has been the Fade meta for him as well, especially last year. So the Fade, I mean, tried and tested even internationally. The Silva, that was my big question, but so far doing very well. And again, without things like the alarm bots to rely on. I mean, you have just the Silva and KO to really go for these timing on those info calls. And they're able to get everything they need. And I mean, with leaving mid open, right? Whether it's just closing the door, whether it's pushing out from another side, Paper X is maneuvering this map very well. This time it's another one-way here, but they're not peeking out of it. They know that at the end of the day, Bleed's the one who has to use their util first to fish for info.
They might be expecting just a full-on burst here from Bleed, but this is a trap.
Nice.
Paper X have completely set up onto that A side, and Bleed are being punished for it. There's only two remaining. That's going to be Scary and Retla. Left and right, Divide, I know you want to go for it, but you will get picked off as Retla just haphazardly spams the smoke. That at least gives them a bit of a chance here.
Sabar dulu. Scary.
Scary on short, finds big contact onto Forsaken here, 1 versus 1.
Waduh, Forsaken,
Scary out,
penadi.
no man's land.
Oh, he gets
tagged first. Something, waiting, choosing to use the shorty, but Scary converts. Forsaken finally gets punished, and that's only going to be Retla with the spike in hand, two right in front of him. Maybe he can at least dissect some of the players on that A side.
Anjir, Scary emang. Bener-bener scary, cowok.
I mean, considering how far Bleed's been pushed, right? You're already 4 rounds down going into that previous round. I don't blame Scary for that ult, right? I mean, yeah, you can go for a cheeky spike pickup in another round, but you use it to try to create a curveball.
Tapi kan itu kan dapat pujian kan dari masa gara-gara gitu kan.
Paper X as much as he wants, and just these different positions from Paper X each and every round here on A site. Bleed this time, they actually made the right call, right? They're not expending too much utility. They understand that Paper X are going to be split because they have to, because there's no other way to control mid for them. And they just go for the stack.
Yo, I love this!
A Sage Styles crunch, but it's Retla ready for it. I mean, that's the problem. You do hear the wall coming up. He's ready for the double.
Yeah, we've seen that on a bunch of like YouTube highlight clips for Sage mains.
Oh, for sure.
Doesn't work like this for Paper X. I was so excited for it too. But Bleed have seen it.
Yeah, it did seem like there wasn't as much util time with the flashes and things like that. Obviously not a heavy investment for Paper X, but Retla this time, a nice trade as well for a triple. Only 5 HP remaining, but it's a 4v2 for Bleed.
No flashes for Devi here, so it's all about that contact. Dodges a lot of things, actually. Now as he tries to time the peek through the paranoia, we'll get the first one that is spiked down. They know that Mind Freak is on market, but he kind of, I don't know what just happened to his feet. He jumped down onto the stairs, ruined his recoil there, and that's going to be the first round picked up by Bleed.
Yeah, this is a step there from Mind Freak, and that will give that round. But overall, I mean, you get the early kills and you just wait. You go for the re-clear. I like that from Retla as well. Make sure, do you want to go here or not? Because it's already 2 members down from mid. No matter which site you go to, you're going to have an opening. You just want to make sure you don't get caught off guard on the timing. Yeah. So a good call. Fairly simple, but very straightforward call from Bleed. And now the Odin ready for it from Forsaken. Bleed, they look like they're positioned to avoid it at the beginning, but he waits.
I mean, they can't push through this more than anything else. It's the wall. Jing also keeps them tracked down. They did wait a little bit before they start using that lockdown. Will it get broken by Forsaken now that he has his ultimate, or are they just going to maybe escape as he tries to delay them with a couple of shock darts?
Oh, he just wants to delay the second line of entry. He actually gets one off of the Odin damage earlier. It's going to be an early kill with the Hunter's Fury. Now something in mid. Cuts off Scary as well. No smokes for Bleed. The spike not in sight. Ye stranded on B.
It's going to be quite difficult. Ye could actually make something happen right now.
He has to.
Yeah, 3 players, though, coming in from spawn. The smoke right in front of their faces. And they're hoping that maybe this flash would actually give them a little bit of leeway as they try to push it onto the site. Now that they come in through, Cloudburst come in, and something with the headshot. Oh my goodness, the Blades. He's not done just yet. Coming around the corner, has the operator hand, and of course, you know what? He gets kills left and right. One with the Blades, one with the op. Actually, two with the Blades, one with the op. The math is bad, but something is great.
Caster math, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a risk. It's a risk. That's why we don't do it too often. But something, he'll go for those kills any day, and it does look like we'll be looking at a timeout. I mean, much needed. I'm not surprised that it didn't come earlier, because in the early parts, I mean, there's Paper X just having a better hard read, right, on some of these rounds, and you know, pistol and things like that. Of course, it's Bleed trying to get used to the Sage, and a couple other parts about this Paper X maneuver. So it wasn't a necessary timeout early on. You're waiting for your players to catch up to it. Sure, they're breaking down what Paper X is doing. But now you start to see a bit of a further breakdown, right? A little bit of that rush, trying to just force the call that you had to go for that lockdown despite the Odin spam, despite people already being taken down low over on B main.
Yeah, 100%. Again, there's so many approaches that we've seen already from Bleed, and it should be working. But Paper X are just so hyper aware of what the follow-up is, what the follow-up would be for Bleed there, right? And you actually mentioned it, that they might not just be that accustomed to the Sage just yet. And the things that I've seen from Jing that he has used for the most part, I don't think we've seen too many of the slow orbs. It's just primarily the walls, and it is kind of confusing Bleed on their approaches.
Well, a lot of it is also Bleed hasn't really been trying to push and pull, right? They got denied in mid a couple times early on, and they've given up on it. So I was wondering if this timeout would bring their focus back to mid, try to force the op out, try to pressure it, you know, force them to close the door early, break it open, things like that. But no, it's just going to be an ace stack. It's going to be a 1-4 default from Bleed. With the Blade Storms, going to be avoiding that 0 point.
Yeah. Problem is, if they try to push on A site with Ye on those Blades, look at Devi, he's got the null command, so that's a very easy counter for someone that's very fickle if you just take away the, you know, the ultimate.
And you saw, I mean, Bleed using their own 0 point over on A main, so Paper X, no reason to be pressured too much just yet. You see the early push out from the turret as well, so you know that you're trying to push in to gather some info on B main, but look at that, the Sage wall. They know that Bleed doesn't actually have complete information on B just yet. The wall finally getting broken.
This is perfect, though. They know that Devi has actually used his Blade on A main, so Ye, he's got free reign to go for this first contact. The question now is Duryoung going to be able to assist him, or just, well, use the smoke and just come in through market, knock, knock, who's there? Nobody's on B side for now.
Oh, the Odin trying to catch a target. Devi's going to find one in mid through the smoke, though, so that's KO down for Bleed. A 4v5. Can you clear back house? Yes, you do. Ye gets one, Scary another, right through market. Now evening the numbers. The res comes back up. 4 members still alive, and a nice soft shot on the backup from something.
Yeah, that's perfect as well. That was through the bait of Jing reviving somebody as well. 3 players on the back of the site. Dart overshoots, but that shouldn't matter too much. As you can see, Forsaken's just putting out the suppressing fire. Something coming right in, but Redla's so prepared. This man has been dealing damage. Yay as well. Redla, it's the combination, and now it's just Forsaken alone. 3 versus 1, 20 HP. He's got the Odin. He might have to just back away, escape with his life, because this is a bleed round.
Yeah, he's just going to look for a couple exits, it seems. Quite a few creds over on the side of Paper X, but Ye says no, shuts it down. And what's his weapon of choice? We are going to see the op picked up by Zest and 2 rifles. Great upgrades from Bleed. And I love the delayed Hunter's Fury, right? He doesn't use it right after the no command, but he waits. If they get a kill, now that you've eliminated one angle, you cover that consistently with the Hunter's Fury. The other 2 members can now only focus on lane, and they're able to clean up the kills. I mean, Retla, he's been picking up more frags each week here for Bleed, and he's continuing to lead the pack quite a bit in this map of Ascent.
100%. You make more splash with throwing out the pebbles than one big rock. They did not actually save the operator. I was looking at Zest.
All right. Dropped it at the end.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that maybe Ye would, get that, but he's the point man.
Yeah, I mean, if you do pick it up, you're always going to have to kind of go for that trade right afterwards, right before the entry. So now that they've done the fake A over to B or over to mid, they'll put the early pressure back on mid. I mean, this is by far the weakest part of the map for Paper X. It has to be an overinvestment for Paper X. Ye a little bit outwards, and Devi, what a jiggle, leads into the wide swing. And that's not only the jet down, but mid completely given over to Paper X's control. And I fear that Bleed, they're going to be scratching their heads thinking, do we just have to go A again? I mean, we're already stuck here.
I mean, Smart Money's probably just going to be re-encompass on that A short, kind of compress yourselves. They are going to try to do that. They're leaving Scary by himself on A main to be the pinch play here. And then, of course, just one more player on B main so that they don't get, just kind of flanked around. The contact's going to be good. Devi, he's been the pillar for Paper X. 1 versus 1, and Devi wins the battle. That's not going to be too good, especially with the spike down on A short. Has 2 remaining players to bleed. Does Scary have his TP? Picking up the spike, maybe. Nope. Zest's going to have to go for that battle on mid. There's too many of them, but he's done Jing. And can he go for another one? Absolutely not. One more. Scary. A main. Mind Freak spotted. 1 versus 1 for the meantime. 2 players of Paper X coming around the corner. Maybe flank on top mid. 13 seconds. Whatever happens here, Scary does not have enough time.
Yeah, and they heard the orb as well. They know exactly where he's at. It's a setup for Devi as he goes for that 4K on round 9. A big win. I mean, Devi starts it and then he finishes it. Gets the pick off on Ye in mid. That does make Bleed's game plan crumble entirely. I don't mind them swiveling back towards A short. It's just Paper X. Yeah. They understand, okay, if you were stuck on A main, the only other part that we haven't really quite taken control of, because we put up the wall on B main, is going to be A short near tree. So they go for that clear. It's a double, and they win out the trades.
And I love that too from Paper X, because thinking about it, there's only 2 spots in A short that or just 1 spot in A short that you would want as an attacker, and that's underneath that arch that you're seeing right now in front of Devi. If you're anything right behind that, you're kind of just aware that you could be pushed from arch on mid. So the rush for Bleed was definitely there to just kind of push in before they, maybe get flanked by Paper X.
Well, coming into this round, that's an early pickoff from Darion, ready for that wall up. And they sent the drone into mid, so they know that this should be weaker on A, but it's a judge, and that's as powerful as 3 members. A quick triple for something. And Forsaken pushes out on the perfect timing. Jumps around the wall as well. What a round from Paper X. I mean, Bleed made the right call here. They get a pick off on B main. They know that if we continue to show some presence, someone has to be around B. You send the drone on mid, someone has to watch that now that the Sage is down. And they were right. It was just 1 guy. But he had a judge.
And that corner, that positioning, yeah.
Holy. I don't think I've ever heard something yet. I don't know, is that happy? Is that a happy laugh? Is that an evil laugh?
Maniacal.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a cackle, in my opinion.
It's a Joker's laugh.
Yeah, there you go, there you go.
There you go.
Well, that's the 2nd timeout used by Bleed. And I have to imagine this is more about course correcting the things that are starting to go really poorly, right? I don't what I've noticed from Bleed's timeouts is it's not even necessarily does this timeout give us the best chance to win ultimately, but it's a matter of, well, the course we're going now does not lead to a win, right? That seems to be the pattern so far. And I'm not surprised, right? Legia consistently is mentioning that they have very basic things they need to continue to work on, that they need to really build a better foundation. So if this, hey, if this course corrects them, make it an 8-4, you know, it's on ascent, it's not so bad. You go back to defense, you have your designated roles and positions.
Yeah.
Apa itu?
I mean, at a certain point, I think Bleed just has that level
Lagi
of
link tapi
hesitation
temen
after
aku
they
ribut
get,
sama
like,
pacarnya
one
dan
guy
aku
gets
harus
picked off.
jadi penengah.
Right?
Makanya
You see
kalau
that push on aiming that happened
keluar
with
sama
something.
temenmu yang
Did they throw any
pacaran
utility just to
jangan
clear out aiming
mau.
just in case that someone was there?
Biasanya
Like
cuma
not,
jadi
right?
nyamuk.
So, like you're absolutely right. There's these kind of fundamental things that may be shaking Bleed to their core just because, you know, there is that pressure.
Kebanyakan jadi nyamuk
You know,
kalau
first
gitu,
MYSU
serius.
representative, Bleed, second one.
Yeah, the thing is, so about that judge, I mean, well, hold on. Well, let's wait for this contact to pass. But I don't know if I can really blame Bleed. I mean, you can say in hindsight, you know, they should have used util and whatnot. But until now, saving util has been what's been gaining them ground. And PaperX had all the creds. They didn't need to buy a judge. They just did it because they thought they had a read, and now they have another read as they continue to push out left, right, and middle. Bleed completely trapped in the middle of the map. It's going to be a quick cleanup
Tadi
from
kasih
PaperX.
celah.
Yeah, again, that mental strain
Nice
of just
banget.
trying to get out
Tadi
of the
kasih
open.
celah
That is
Samsat.
that mid position, 9-2 right now, and there's one more round left for Bleed here. How's the econ
Ini
looking
map
for
pilihan Bleed lagi.
challengers? It's like it is maybe just running into those half buys, but yeah, all these contacts, man, it's just not going the way of Bleed.
PaperX just have their number right now. They understand that with the type of pressure that Bleed's dealing with, it's become a flowchart to PaperX.
Yeah.
And now they'll just go with the Odin, spamming that out again. The KO just there for early backup in case it's a rush, but now that it's not, it's a quick peek out from something that catches sight of multiple. So now they know, okay, mid's the danger zone, and Devi will be tasked with holding on to it. He's going to wait. He's going to try to buy time with an early pop flash. He goes out with it. That's one kill. Something not quite arriving in time just yet before the smoke goes down.
Ooh, right underneath, look at Forsaken. He's dropped the Odin for the judge, and he's waiting at these kind of just cut off visual angles, and he doesn't need it. Something just jumps up, and their heads are popping little by little. It's whack-a-mole with the blades, as something now being pushed could have actually gotten Durian there, but not going to happen as Durian pops off with the Guardian. Now pushing it onto the B main. Mindfree coming in from the back with the flank on lower mid, as three players of PaperX are separated.
The smoke is so good because now it forces them to have to check all the way around it, and it gives Forsaken so much more time. They have no idea that it's a judge at the back site. The spike goes down. He's not able to connect to a second just yet. Still 30 seconds on the clock, but now everyone's arrived from PaperX. 2v2 slow orb. And then the paranoia, they are trapped. The spike goes out. Scary gets a heroic pick. That's one from Jing, and he's not able to connect to Retla. Bleed will stabilize with a 3-9 scoreline.
Great push from Bleed on mid. Even though they saw that something was there, he kind of has overstayed his welcome in a bit. He was threatening how much damage he can do with the blades, but it's not going to happen when he gets pushed by every remaining player of Bleed, plus the flash from Durian.
Yeah, I mean, something thinking that he had a bit more time to play with his food there with the Blade Storm, but it's Durian just pushing back, had enough of it, goes with the flash. Now, this is the last time that Legia will have a chance to talk to his team unless PaperX choose to call a timeout, which I imagine won't be coming unless, they suddenly lose the lead or something like that.
Yeah. Ooh. What a first half start on this match. One of the things that I also, was kind of researching with this particular series is how far back does Durian and Scary have kind of faced PaperX individually from their previous teams. Durian, he's done it with the former iteration of the Bleed, like for a few years now. Every single time, right, where tournaments that lead up to, let's say, a Masters or a Champions, it's always been PaperX that eliminated them. And then for Scary, it was, when he was in X10?
X10, back in the day,
Got
before
knocked
Xerxia.
Off before they can get themselves into another Masters. So there's a lot of history, between these two teams, between the players that have been performing the most for Bleed.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these guys have their own history all the way back in APAC before we got into Pacific. So it's no surprise that they would want to try to prove themselves here on the big stage. Of course, being that very
Enak
first
banget kopi pos.
inaugural Ascension member of
Dijajal ke kopi.
VCT Pacific. Now Bleed on defense, and they should be a bit more comfortable, especially with the Killjoy. They've got the alarm bot. They should have better control of mid. For now, they're just checking. Is it going to be a mid push in from Paper X? Immediately, it's going to be a triple stack. Quick rotation possibly coming in from Darion as well.
They've added a good chunk of utility as well. Scary's got no more smokes, only has a paranoia in hand, and there it is. The hive mind mentality of Paper Rex marching all the way through A short. You can hear the thunderous footsteps on short here. The wall, give it a bit of leeway. Devi gets to pick first. There is that cautionary paranoia from Scary, but rocking the hard place. He's got to have some assistance right now. He is alone. Does have somebody, Retla, on Heaven, but that's not going to be enough as Paper Rex wipe out. They take the second pistol.
Oh, so Zest actually had a really good decision to just try to chase him in mid as fast as possible. And you saw both on his screen and on the minimap that he was trying to stutter step so that he doesn't make a sound, but is able to get that mini speed boost every now and then. But he just starts to run it, and he thinks that enough footsteps are being made by Paper X that he can also mask his own.
Yeah.
But they hear it right away. I believe that was Devi turning right back around, picks off that kill. And that shuts off the pinch from Bleed. Now, I mean, yeah, you're down low, but it's just a Marshall. You're on the defense. The 4 spies aren't going to look good.
There it is again. Paranoia from Scary, but I mean, he doesn't have anyone to feed off of it. So even if he can get that quick contact, it's just a classic in his hands. Speaking of classics, Durian also bringing in his own. Unfortunately, Paper X, they attack together, so there was just too many refraggers just in case Durian got one.
Yeah, then you've got that wall next to the door as well with just the pistols. It's not looking good for Bleed here. And with a Marshall, it's not exactly the best weapon to try to go on a retake, but if they peek out for you, Ye will take the kills.
Why not? He's about to peek onto this one. Out in the open, but there's a bajillion players of Paper Rex. One more. Zest. Retla has finally got onto short, but that door's closed up, and he's going to take a long time for him to break through that just in case. Anything else is probably just going to be exit frags if they can, but can they? Okay. Zest!
Kok jadi mahal gini, Gi?
Even with the ghost.
Last player standing.
I mean, that's 2 extra ult orbs.
Mahal joy, mahal joy.
No business getting, quite frankly, right? I mean, they were ready to just die to the spike. Paper X did not need to challenge that. I mean, you're so far ahead, you do not need to snowball your ultimates. So in the grand scheme of things, I know Paper X likes to play with a little bit of fun on stage, but in the grand scheme of things, very unnecessary deaths here for a couple members on Paper X.
How is Zest so good with the ghost?
Anjir.
Like,
Si Davai, nge-fix si Ilya banget.
He's just one of those, you know, calm, collected, you know, type aimers, right?
Yeah. Wish I was kind of like that. You get pushed by that and you're like, yeah, no, I'm not in a good spot. Odin in Zest's hands this time. There is that quick push now that they hear him back down, but look at this trap set up by Retla. Does pick up the first pick, or first kill, excuse me, as the wall or switch closes down door. They do know that Zest is alone. I love that Jing is right on top of his wall. Could see where Zest come out. Zest holding on for as much as he can, for as long as he can, and he only picks up the one. 2 versus 2 right now. Big flags coming in, but Jing comes into the site, saves himself from the backstab. They're coming around. Yay.
Ye's fast.
Ooh, B-main.
Yeah, Scary.
He sees him right in front, is going to be Mind Freak. And Ye has challenged one of his own, because Scary has to go the other way. The pinch to the left and right. As Paper Rex is just buying so much time at this point.
So Ye just wants to make sure that he doesn't give up control of that smoke area. They don't want them creeping back in for a pinch. Now the paranoia, that's the signal for Ye to go for the peek. He gets one. Does he find Jing? Scary will find it. It's a good, patient 2v2 retake from Bleed. And they will not let map point happen just yet.
Gotta love that pinch that we saw from them. I don't think we saw the other player of Paper X get hit by the paranoia, but that was enough for both of them to just go in for that sandwich. What a trap as well.
Yeah, this was a Bleed. Yeah, that was a nice try. I mean, if Retla had connected even onto something, it would have just completely shut down the round for sure.
Yeah.
Eventually they had to rely on the retake, but it was a good way to delay, make sure the backup arrives. Now the default continuing the same way. Alarm bot in mid. Still gonna be 2 members over on B. The Killjoy util to help delay. Still got that Odin in hand for Zest. They saved that over.
That's the breakup economy too for Paper X here. Okay, there it is. One-way smoke. something still charges through that. No one on A main for the quick little contact. Scary, hyper aware. And I love how just forward his positioning is. He really wants to get that fight, knows that he can win that challenge and take that, you know, beat advantage, excuse me, for Bleed here to get things started with.
So Bleed, during all of that, right, they hear the orb being taken. They sent the drone out B main as well. So they know that it wasn't just the 3 members. They know that pretty much the entire team was on A main. So Ye was trying to make sure that he's peeking out towards top mid. But now that the smoke resides, now that they don't hear any more info, he doesn't want to give up that rifle. He doesn't have backup there for trade. So he backs off, and they just say, we just have to reset. Just buy time whichever site they come towards. It's a timing from Zest, and he will nail the shot. Now the last remaining position, it's going to be the alarm button. So look at that KO on the minimap. He's already ready as well. Darion there to watch the flank. He'll find a nice snap. And meanwhile, Ye got one in short. Will not connect onto the last member, but Mindfreak all alone. But a Vandal picked up.
Got stuff. What? Through the wall. Okay. Gets a dink onto Retla.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a secondary pick for Mindfreak there, but yeah, in any case, this is what Bleed wants, right? You get that safety from Retla's utility. You have the threatening from Zest with wherever he's at with the Odin, and you can kind of somehow funnel Paper X to where you want them to fight you.
I mean, this is just classic defense default from Bleed, of course, especially against a weaker buy on the opponents. Very good setup. And Paper X, I mean, they do not have the best composition to try to battle this, right? I mean, the lurking is not going to be as efficient on a Sage. You're usually going to have that Omen on for it. Oh, but this B side is being pressured pretty fast. Ye's already been spotted. The op and Odin now stuck in backside. Backup is here. I love the spams coming in. They have to make sure that they find a timing to go through the smoke. There's actually something pushing out. Darion there for the trade.
Oh, those back players on B did not stand a chance at all. Darion gets slowed in. If he just pushed right at that nick of time, could have maybe spotted Forsaken, bringing back Divide to life. Mindfreak coming in for the big flank, and Darion is alone. And of course, Dunzo. That's going to be Paper X, 12-5. And Bleed. That was some heavy contact on that B site.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fast hit from Paper X. And I think Paper X, you know, this was a good timing to do it in terms of round score as well. You still have a hefty lead. You just want to change up the pace a little bit, but also understanding that if Bleed is going to just play standard default, right? 2-1-2, 1-1-3, something like that. If we just charge in, we will have the numbers advantage no matter what. And quite frankly, that's one of the best ways to play against Bleed, because they will most likely, almost every round, stay in the default until they get the opponents all the way up to the entrance. They wait really long before they start to go for those rotations because they're not quite sure. They won't really push out for a lot of information. Ye's doing his best in mid, but that's about as far as they go.
Still's got the blade. He really wants to go for that.
Nice throw.
It's a nice try. It's a nice try. I mean, you think you'll have a timing right as the drone spots you. That's unfortunate. Does get some damage down as well, but it will be healed right back up.
Now, same thing could be happening through B main here. Zest gets that first little contact. Spotted out. Oh, he's full blinded. Cannot escape the clutches of Divide.
Nggak mungkin dong. Nggak mungkin dong. 1 lawan 5 loh. Nggak mungkin dong. Ke A mampus. Mampus plan A. Jadi B.
40 seconds. It's not the end of the world. There's a couple of chances for him, but he's got to do it now.
Blade Storm popped as well. Something now looking to go on the
On defense nggak mungkin dong.
side as teammates.
Davai sabar-sabaran.
Yeah, they're trying to just figure out where's the last remaining member. Scary will find one against Divide.
He's got a TP.
Still 4 more though. Door closed.
Nggak mungkin dong. Nggak mungkin
Scary
dong.
lands one.
Nggak mungkin dong.
But the pitch around comes from Mindfreak, and that is going to be it. 13-5. Bit of a landslide victory here for Paper X against Bleed on their map pick of Ascent.
Absolutely dominating performance right now from Paper X. And we were kind of curious how the composition was going to, you know, kind of play out, especially with that Jing pick on the Sage, but somehow just manages to work. You know, you got a lot of bodies to work with. The null command, the res, the heals, all good.
Yeah, I mean, overall, didn't have to show too much of their hand either, but we'll let the analysts break down a bit further how this map 1 went before we dive into map 2.
I I think our casters are absolutely right. It doesn't look like PRX broke a sweat indeed. I mean, maybe there are some rounds that were a little bit dangerous, but I would say like PaperX, they looked very, very comfortable, and even I would say a little bit playful.
Yeah, there was that round with the judge and something cackled. I don't know how he did it.
Again, what was that? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
He did like...
I think it was a few octaves, like it's like the sound of a dinosaur.
Velociraptor.
Yeah, Velociraptor.
It was rough for Bleed. I think they started off pretty slow, and PRX are coming back with a vengeance after they lost last week, and they're like, okay, we're PaperX. We don't get affected by anything. We're just gonna W gaming, and even on defense, they just kind of crushed them. Zest wasn't really able to get anything going. He had like the one kill through the wall when they had a couple of rounds on defense eventually. It was pretty one-sided, to be honest. I think that I was expecting a bit more from Bleed and perhaps a bit less from PRX, but now I feel like it's the exact opposite, where Bleed aren't really looking like they've shown today what they've shown even in their win against CFM or some of their good moments, and PaperX look like they're back.
Yeah, I mean, so much. So this, my heart goes out to Bleed, you know, just to start things off, because they're working against so much. It's not only just mental pressure, it's like one of their last few chances of making it through playoffs. And it's against such a big team, you know, such a deep map pool, and Ascent was their kind of best bet. Once they start things off with that pistol round and Mindfreak gets the clutch, things just start to crumble a little because PaperX starts to dictate the flow. I feel like PaperX intentionally started out on the defense side. You almost always want to do that on Ascent anyway. And the way that they utilized this Sage composition was one of the most interesting things. You had that little tiles crunch. Rello was ready for it, and that was really awesome. That's why he's the MVP. But apart from that, PaperX was controlling the map every single round of the way. They were always setting out traps, funneling Bleed into certain positions, and even at the start of rounds, you could see that something has an idea. All right, Bleed's probably going to be around tiles. If we peek against them, they're going to start to push out. Divide will be ready up around Market or Pizza. So many rounds went that way, and that's why PaperX were at the top. Divide as the MVP. He knew exactly where to position himself, and he was ready for a lot of these fights.
Uncle Fisherman and going fishing,
Exactly.
right? And
Had the bait laid out and everything.
Exactly that. He was waiting. He was so patient. But you're absolutely right, Quack. I feel like here, you know, Team Secret, I feel like figured
Halo,
out,
Paul.
you know, PaperX.
Halo,
They have
welcome,
really
welcome.
gaming aggression head on. But Bleed here, like once they got
Gimana, Paul, harinya, Paul?
too hesitant, they were a bit
Saya iri dengan Anda dapat Arlesino. Arlesino saya belum pulang, masih PT 45. Kayak tahun kemerdekaan. Halo, Paul, welcome. Udah bertiga dong.
Dashed all the way towards the back side, cleared it with his knife. They got a thrifty off of that. We need to see more rounds like that where Bleach just goes, you know, unhinged. They feel the aggression, feel the opportunities. You can start to see that they're starting to flow. And Ye is back in that sort of like duelist form. As this
Jingan lah. Halo, Paul, welcome. Selamat beristri. Istirahat. Bukan beristri ya.
Saw Ascent, which was Bleed's map pick, and now we're going to be heading over to Bind for map 2, which does worry me. I think that Bleed,
Aku baik. Udahlah, game rusak tuh. Gua uninstall aja abis ini. Oh baik. Geko nggak sih udah? GG. Udah GG nggak sih ini? Dapat itu Jing Warcraft dan something. Udahlah GG sih harusnya GG sih ini. Biar langsung play off gitulah.
I was going to point that out, actually. Going over into Bind, I mean, it shows previously on Ascent that PaperX are great to switch things up. We saw Jing on Sage. We saw Forsaken on Sova for, I believe, the first time on Ascent, right? So they are changing things up.
Geko juga yang buat sama bawain PaperX nggak sih? Kiri aku call itu 20-an kecil banget call.
Why it's so hard to play against Paper X, especially when they bring out new compositions, new recipes in the book. But apart from that, you know, apart from the agents, they keep doing these insane things. Like you saw Forsaken with an Odin.
Win 100% anjir. Satunya win 100%, satunya win 0%. Gimana tuh?
Because you would expect him to have an Odin, and then suddenly he has a judge on the ground that he bought previously. Paper X is capable of such flexible things, and that's why it's very tough to play against them. Bleed, you know, they're gonna have to adapt on the fly right here. And you have seen some rounds from like Scary, for example, where he's able to put out some smokes that are really interesting and he plays around them. But on a map like Bind, where he's like most often the Brimstone, trying to
ya sekarang lagi nguli buat weaponnya. Weaponnya bagus sih. Sebenarnya weaponnya nggak mas full, tapi kalau ada weaponnya jadi keren banget itu Arlesino serius.
Which is absolutely the toughest game of them all. Except for Bonus, he's smiling here. He's so confident because like, where is he? Where are you over here?
Alongside of some wonderful people up there at the top.
We have Victoria as well and Azurai sitting pretty. Our question for this is,
Iya sih itu sekarang weaponnya bagus sih, berarti nanti malam Genshin lagi kalau Paul.
Struggled on a sense. I feel like for me this is pretty easy. I feel like the viewer votes there are way too many yeses. Is my
I will put yes.
I mean, our viewers vote say,
I'm gonna go ahead and put mine up already.
Ya soalnya Reaper weaponnya.
You ruined the game, but you know what?
Ya keren banget itu kalau pakai signature-nya, serius. Serius keren banget dia kalau pakai signature-nya. Closing-nya ada baik, ini masih drop. Ya udah lah ya.
These analysts are like following my rules over here. But okay, all right.
He plays the Gecko here, and that's always a little bit interesting. He's not very, you know, like well versed on this agent. It's a little bit new. We don't see it too often, but on a map like this, he's gonna pull it out. But I want to have some faith. This is a faith pick. I feel like he's going to be able to play off the Dizzy or, you know, set up the wingman, play off of it a little bit, and his teammates can support him.
Itulah.
Get some trades for Ye or something.
Saya tidak ingin membahas Genshin. Saya tidak hoki.
Yeah, I like that hope. I feel like people should have that kind of hope a little bit more. But yeah, I do think that
Genshin ko
it's
lagi
not that he will be like underperforming. I just don't think he's going to get the most kills in this map. And we are about to head into Bind. It's gonna be exciting. You mentioned
Mana ini si Farisa? Katanya lagi perjalanan pulang dia. Oh ya, Farisa udah cerita nggak yang malam-malam ku takutin di Discord call? Udah cerita nggak dia? Ku takutin sama suara ketukan pintu. Dia cerita ke kamu belum? Waktu apa ya itu? Kayaknya
Paper X, like we said before, they look like they're having fun. They barely broke a sweat. They are going to go with the Harbor and a Brimstone, so no Reyna this time. We do see the Viper over there for Retla on the side of Bleed, so that's the one difference here between the compositions. I mean, Bleed just have to look much better than they did on map 1, to be perfectly honest. Like, Paper X are having fun. Bleed need to come out here really strong right from the get-go and say, okay, we're serious now if they want to have a chance on Bind, because it's going to be rough otherwise.
It's definitely going to be. I mean, given the fact that this was Paper X's map pick, I think it's a little bit interesting that Bleed decided to elect it to start with the attack. So if they can actually come in and dictate the flow of the game, they might just be able to change things up, and especially with this specific composition. This is something that they've done way back when. This double controller setup, get the spike down, play for those post-point lineups. It could work.
Well, let's see if Bleed can make a comeback or if Paper X are going to close this out. Over to your casters, William and Azurai.
Thank you very much. That's right, we're here ready for map 2.
belum kan kemarin, semalam nggak jadi live. Terus semalam nggak jadi live kan? Oke, wait. Nah, kemarin dia jadi live kan? Baru tahu. Berarti itu Arlesino dapat off
on the pre-show.
Yeah,
Cyber's controllers is also maybe just kind of optimizing which agent Zest plays the best at.
Berarti itu dapatnya
improving, but not to the extent that Bleed kind of want in this, you know, in this very crucial of crucial games.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that as well, because while Zest has played this guy on other maps, generally back at DRX, whenever they would play the bind, he's usually still playing the hard info, right? Things like the fade, and it's the stacks. It's stacks that usually plays this guy. So curious to see what the idea here is. Maybe just trying to set up Ye a little bit more with a just pure double team alongside Zest, but it's going to be an easy entry here. Right through that high tide. They will get B site for free. Wingman planting. It's 5 members ready to fight. They want to push back out. They want to make sure that they cannot come through. Oh, but the flash, a bit of a team flash there against Scary.
Nice.
Yeah, a bit of a bad nade too from Ye, as you saw. Kind of separated the players of Bleed there as they were trying to push out onto B main, so that's rather unfortunate. Forsaken 2 more seconds before he has his high tide. Is that going to be able to come to sight and let his teammates come in? Absolutely yes. You can already see the players of Bleed coming around the corners, all about fights right now. And the defuse coming in from the Wingman. It's not stopping, and the Wingman is an absolute MVP as Paper X comes into assist. Sure, but you know what? It's a
Iya, dapatnya
defuse perfectly.
Kan baru update
always there for at least one of the teams, it
dapat
seems.
beli lagi.
Of course, getting the plant and the defuse that time and that pistol.
Ya udahlah, ente kalau gitu.
That hurts, right?
Kemarin juga kira itu kan.
Over from Bleed, go
Aku
in,
kemarin
push back out of main, make sure you take control and kind of force him out entirely of the site.
Dia mau
But then they have to be corralled all the way back into elbow. Not much of a chance
waktu
there.
balik-balik kulihat, udah jam 10 belum mampir.
As they continue to play here in stage 1.
Kok kira udah end stream. Ternyata itu belum ya, nggak jadi ya yang kemarin ya. Soalnya aku lihat jam 8
he waits for the op. He doesn't deal with just the outlaw.
Yeah, he wants the good stuff, you know.
Yeah, he lets us see it. Oh, you guys can play with the outlaw.
Gila gitu coy.
He getting a pick on short there. That's an opening that Bleed might not want to pass up on. They are already trying to push here on the contact, but Mind Freak is too fast, and he finds the spike as well.
The timing with the Trailblazer makes sure that he cannot be traded. One of them has to look back to see if there's going to be a follow-up through that teleporter.
Punya itu masih banyak banget vol tabungannya vol.
Now a spike down.
Serius.
Device protecting it, long range, gets the Sheriff at the ready.
Spots too.
Banyak.
And now he's ready for the push.
Banyak fight.
Sticks with the Spectre. Great smoke to cut them off.
There's just a ton of them. They really can't go through this. There's just layers upon layers. And Scary sure is going to be able to get the first pick onto the buy. Not able to upgrade his weapon at all, as he will just back away with the classic, maybe try to attack elsewhere on an angle, but something is already on short, preparing, waiting, and striking to finish off for the second round.
It's just the small little things. I mean, Bleed, they were double team in showers. It was honestly not a bad setup, even on the eco. But right as that TP door opens, Zest has to look behind, rather. Mind Freak swings on it, he's able to get an easy double.
Ini dah apa ya, anjir. Mau dipisah loh.
Through. Double controller, man.
Mau dipisah anjir karena itu David. Ngapain?
We'll cut that off as a loss because there really was very little chance, especially even though he got that first pick with the
nice banget.
And this time they're pushing out all together. Double push, Retla's ready for it. He suspects a third as well. He wouldn't be wrong, but he will have to get taken out as he goes for that drop. Aim not stabilized. Now the TP out. Paper X is fast on this, and that actually pressures Bleed to try to move a little bit quicker as well. Potentially into a trap, and they just say, you know what? There was one already on B. That's a TP over to B. That's 2 members trying to pick the weaker side of A.
G has a nade. If he can time this perfectly, he might be able to kind of cut off that rotation as they come into the site. You can already see that was what he was trying to do, but Bleed still come in. Paint shell's a little bit too short, and that's going to be perfect. That does allow them to plant the spike onto triple. All these smokes just, again, confusing the vision of Paper X, leaving it all onto Jing. 3, 4 versus 1. That's going to be a quick little trade, and Bleed, great efforts at the start there for Retla.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a true set though, but you still have that Viper, you have the Toxic Screen, he's ready for it. The rest of the members already all focused onto the B site. You know that you should have the better weaponry. Granted, again, Paper X a pretty strong bonus in their own right. And then I love the call to just TP over, right? Even if there's still somehow a fast rotate, it's 2 members, you're still going as 4. It's a 4v2. you know you should be relatively safe to charge on through.
100%. Something picks up the
Nahan,
operator
strike,
right now. Gonna look for that straight
nggak
contact
di-bleed
onto
dia,
T-Long. Nobody from Bleed gonna be challenging him on that one. But the wall from Forsaken might actually push someone in just in case. That being said, though, it's a two-pronged approach. Thrash comes into the corner as well as the dog. Devi's got to help out something here or he is going to be done for this world. Ye comes in for the shots. Unfortunately, does not make. He could have gotten something on
Masih
that
bisa
one.
di-heal.
He will be able to
Bisa
escape and
di-heal.
get healed by his teammate as well.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Tries to finish it off with the patience, but at the end of the day, it's going to be Littleborough going for that plant. And the post plant's not bad. You've got a couple members inside. You still have hookah control. You still have garden control as well. That's a great dizzy through the window. Forsaken gets an easy pick off of it.
That's so good. It actually spotted out Ye here. But where
Up
Bleed is
flash.
coming from is around the corner, ring
nice.
around the Rosie. Scary picks up
Masih dapat
2,
satu.
3 versus 2. Defuse coming in. Durion trying to delay as much as he possibly can. High Tide blocks a lot of vision, but Bleed somehow figures it out. It's going to be Redla on the great little contact, and Devi might have to back away as he's 23 and holding on to the operator.
Yeah, you've got to save this operator. It's an early buy-up. If you're going to continue to use it, you have to save it up. It's going to be another round win from Bleed, and it really MVP for me, Retla on that one. The positioning on Hookah, he waits, he hides himself for the entire time, and when the first cove comes out, it's up to Darian to break it, and that's when Retla props up on the box. He has vision of everybody in sight. And quick reactions here from Scary and Cess as well, right? They push back out with Darian on second thrash, and then they're able to go for pop flash. Scary still able to swing out for the trades.
Yeah.
Bleed looking a lot more proactive here on this bind.
Yeah, absolutely. They're able to just kind of
Like,
have
yang
these
penting asli.
secondary protocols, you know, just kind of follow up on things, which is not what we saw on Ascent. They usually kind of just back away. This time it's completely different. Very aggressive as well from Bleed here, as you see, throwing out the Dizzy as well as the stim pack or stim beacon.
So something that Bleed, I wonder if they'll ever catch on to this, right? You don't hear the orb being taken behind that High Tide on B. And that
Udah
just starts to
ketahuan
signify
opininya
to you that it's
dimana,
not multiple members
balik
on B,
ke
right?
B.
Whenever they have multiple, they've tried to prioritize sticking for that or at least faking it out. But of course, this time out on Eco, so now they will say, okay, orb's still not taken. They've backed off the site. Still putting pressure over on A with that toxic screen.
Nice.
Devi's on an off.
Fight. Nice
Does not
fight.
disappoint.
Nice fight.
He's got some history with that. I believe he played Chamber at one
Nice
point.
banget
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, he
Gigi
used to be the
banget
go-to
fight.
chamber on this team. And with that kill, you know that you've stopped the advance to push out from Paper X.
Oh, Zest. Couple of body shots.
big
Nice.
Comes out as well for the secondary follow-up. Does get the first pick.
Lah,
You know that it's gone through the
Nah,
TP.
Martin.
Retla hears it as well. He's ready for the pinch, but he's waiting for his teammates. They push them out with the orbital strike. Trailblazer pushes him in. Retla's trapped right now, trying to buy time with the snake bite. He knows he has to push through. Ye's opening up space on the other side. The entry successful, but shower control given over to Paper X.
Yeah, this is very confusing for both teams. Smoke's just kind of annoying everybody who wants to get that quick little line of sight. Unfortunately, not going to happen. Right behind the triple, so Devi can't get that shot off. He tries to do it so, but can't really get the wall bang, and Ye comes in for the big low flank. 1 versus 1. Spike has already been planted. Actually, it's in favor of Ye. He also has the nades, so Devi, everything against him. Both of them fighting. Devi, nade has to separate himself from the explosions. Another try, another peek, and gets the first one. He's aware. He also saw that he was off of it.
Yep.
Another one.
Yeah,
Third time's the charm.
He knows that Devi has to let go of that spike early because he's on an op. So
Oh my
Oh
god! What? Devi!
udah
I
fight.
thought Ye had
Itu
that.
apa cowok?
100%. He 4 times he peeked Devi, and he saw him off of the spike. And the one time he actually
Dia
goes
dapat
for the
menyala,
right swing
bosku.
challenge is when Devi gets the hit.
Nice itu.
Jeez. So, what Ye was doing very correctly was that he knows that Devi has to let go of the spike early, right? He can't wait for a reaction shot because the op's going to take longer to bring the scope back up.
Nice. Oh, quick scope.
So he's constantly just jiggle peeking without actually catching sight. But even Mindfree can't believe it, right? I mean, at that point, Ye goes for the judgment call that now Devi's going to be pressured to run back towards the spike.
Nice.
And now it's just a peek out for something.
he doesn't
That's
see
great
it.
bait.
Nice,
Oh,
nice,
okay,
nice.
the turnaround at the very least. We'll get the trade, and Retla, he's always got bleeds back.
Push on Belong is going to be a little bit delayed, even though Divide does get hit by the Trailblazer. Goes in for the peak, wants to go for the fight here against Zest, but speaking of Zest, he's going to just double up with the rest of the team, using that Steam Beacon to just run straight into a short player. I think it's a perfect here for the moment.
Yeah, but Divide cleared all of it, right? And he heard the audio as well. You've got Mind Freak with the strike. He just has to watch for the flank. Once they hear that plant coming, this orbital strike's going to go down, and that buys all the time. Okay, it's just the pit as well. Perfect timing. Divide now ready for the flank.
It's going to be coming around.
Here's him. Spike down. It's outside of the pit. Oh,
nice.
Timing for Mind Freak to pitch back into it. Paper Rex, they move as one.
Astaga, Aaron bagus banget dok, sumpah emang pinter.
Bleed though, I do like the answer, the clapback, right? To just go straight into the showstopper, knowing that something doesn't really have that mobility. Thankfully enough, you know, Ye gets that, 180 turnaround shot, so they can get started with these trades. Fortunately, just comes up a tad bit short.
Yeah, now they'll have to go for the save. 5 Sheriffs, only a couple half armors on the side of Bleed. They'll slow things down, just try to work around the toxic screen. They haven't really utilized it too much in an aggressive sense. It's actually worked wonders in kind of helping out the lurk against Paper Rex as they try to push out against it, but they haven't really dug deep into anything like lamps in a couple of these rounds. So see if they can start to apply that pressure here on an eco round.
That's interesting too, right? Because they got the double initiator as well. You'd think that maybe after a flash or two, Ye can just rummage into the side. Unfortunately not.
Huge pick from Zest though, from long range, all the way back site. That draws out the high tide, so you know the harbor still around the A side. That's going to be the biggest difference maker between a harbor and a Viper. So you know where that high tide's starting from. So you know you've drawn a little bit of that extra util. You're drawing out a second smoke out from the brim as well. So both of them somewhere nearby. Now you're going for the numbers play. Still all 5 members alive from Bleed. Now the toxic screen. I don't mind this in terms of the round, yeah, but the reckoning is good.
30 seconds left.
But Forsaken has gone down. Mind Freak on top like a sentry, only going to be able to be at least with the 1 pick.
He's close. Not sure if Divide reads this.
Last player standing.
He will not.
Yeah, didn't have a clue. Op has to be saved. The econ isn't exactly rich on the side of Paper Rex. They'll be okay, but the op they'll definitely have to save over if they want to use it.
Yeah. And this is a thrifty round for Bleed. If they wanted to, they can maybe even send 1 person in to just, you know, see where something is, get a chance to take the op away from his hands, but
yeah, wouldn't have been the worst call, right? Anyone that isn't in range to pick up a rifle, you know, someone like Zest, only 2 points away, you could have done that, but it looks like they just want to kind of focus more on their own econ build-up. You know, as they're exiting, they will see if they find him. It's going to be a double team all the way back into defender spawn. Oh, okay. The last-minute jump. Something's ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great start here for Bleed, and this is something I kind of noticed as well with the start of basically the Spine map, that Jing has, what, died 2-3 times on these thrifty rounds for Bleed with these Sheriff plays. So that's been something that at least Bleed has obviously used to their advantage, and you know, that lack of firepower right now, not just, you know, Jing's ability to just frag out, but also the threat of the nades, kind of just not having that is making Bleed more courageous, just going for these aggressive pushes.
Bleed's ready for this. They were already spread out apart, but they'll even use a Guiding Light. So Guiding Light traded for the showstopper, not the end of the world. Now, how does Bleed retake that control is the big question. Paper X not going to stick around, though. They've made that mistake before in the past, right? Where they say, okay, we send the showstopper, we just chase through it all the way to the very end of the round, and it doesn't work out very well. So the re-clear from Showers. For now, the movement, much more fluid on the side of Paper X. They're still holding on to the crucial parts of the map.
Redla could be in for a rude awakening here, as there's 2 players, Forsaken and Jing, flanking around. Something threatens with the op. And Redla, he's so convinced that A short is for himself. He's not about to know about this.
He has no idea. I mean, he thinks he cleared Showers. He has no idea. You've been taken over. A side now entirely in control of Paper X. Bleed's
Ya, dapat.
Device got the judge as well. Do they have a flash to at least get contact on Hookah, or are they just going to go for the blind peeks? Well, they go for that one,
nice.
but as you can see,
Nice, bro.
he's got his boys back. The 3K
nice
for
banget.
Mindfreak. Paper Rex,
Nice
they answer
banget.
right back.
Oh, the peek out around the Dizzy. A little bit delayed there on the side of Bleed. Gives something
Aaron,
just
nice
enough time
banget,
to
Aaron.
reposition after dodging
Main.
the blind. He's even positioned wide. I don't think EA was ready for that wide of an
Pepla
angle.
juga nggak siap itu kalau di
Afterwards, I mean, they had to use the early
Sumpah, kalau
flash as
udah
well
kayak
to
gitu,
clear
kan,
out the showstopper,
please,
things like that.
MP01.
Not enough util, and that should be the timeout from Bleed.
First as well for this map in particular.
Nggak mungkin dong Pepperex kalah sama
Expecting
Bleed.
that maybe they got that round together, but fortunately, again, they just can't figure out how to mitigate that first contact against something in his operator, right? They see him, he always gets that first pick, and then they just kind of back away. It's been happening so many times right now on Bind that they just can't. Again, it's just hard to figure out.
And it's so tough on Bind because it's not as clear cut as other maps where you can just say, well, we found the operator, let's avoid it. Because at the end of the day, Bind doesn't have a mid, so you have to control the extremities to make sure that you're able to apply pressure. And if the op is sitting on either B main or showers, you got to find a way to push it way back, way into the site, just away from the entry points. Bleed, we'll see if that's something they discussed in this timeout, as right now it's still going to be a 2-3 split, but it does look like we might see a guiding light into showers, but no raise to follow up, just a little bit of extra pressure.
Scary tuh dia nakutinnya kalau dia udah pakai itu sih.
Or, excuse me, B-Long has been the domain of something for the longest time. Quick little flash out from TB there outside of showers, so it does give quick information for Paper Rex here. You can see that the leader chasing the kill through that pickup of the orb. Not going to happen this time, but at least forces notified. Not get contacted, but just a bit of information on both sides.
Yeah, but that's both guiding lights used by Divide. Now they have to hold on to these areas, especially by something, right? Because you heard two Vandals on the side of showers, so something knows that he's relatively safe. Bleed should have heard the Trailblazer going through TP as well, so they know that there's still two members.
Saw him.
Yeah, catch a sight of Ye, knows that it's a back out, but something doesn't want to chase through.
Yeah, especially with he's going to get pinched from both angles, right? B-Long as well as that entryway onto mid.
I mean, this is a successful fake out from Bleed. I mean, they stayed for so long until all of the Sky Util was used by Paper Rex. Now they don't really have great ways of getting info because something is stuck on this op.
Might have to even use the TP. He gets a little bit too dicey on that positioning. There he goes, wants to go for the pick once again. Not gonna happen this time, yay! Oh my god! Something! Was that a no-scope operator shot? I think it is. Still though, calm down. Bleed pushing it to the B side. They open it up somehow. That's gonna be a 5 versus 4 on the retake, but they get the B side and hopefully plant the spike right here and now.
Yeah, but you already gave him TP control. Something's already there. Elbow already given over to Forsaken as well. The placements are not good. Scary finds one. He's going. He's ready for the jump shot. Scary holds on to it. Down. Now both members are stuck in the site. They have no idea that somebody's already gone through elbow. It's a wraparound for Forsaken as Paper Rex will pick up a 6-round win. What a shot from something. I mean, I would love to see this from Ye's POV, because I wonder, did he hesitate or did he simply land? Oh my.
He didn't hesitate.
No, he didn't. He just, it's just extra bounce. That's all the time something needed.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm just gonna, be quiet a little bit just to let that shot sink in. What a shot!
Just another round for something.
Yeah.
That one hurts. That one hurts because if he had gotten the kill, right, he applies pressure on the other side. You get a free plant. I mean, it's a whole different round.
Absolutely. And you'd see Paper Rex trying to rush in things without being too prepared, especially, right? That is a very aggressive use of the orbital strike, and it seems like Paper Rex are actually going to just go chase for the kills right now. The separation onto the high tide, and Bleed can't escape. They have to get slowed as they try to just get out of the site itself. They have to pitch in from the other side, as we saw, but Mindfreak's going to be able to stop him dead in the tracks. 2 players of Bleed to remain. Scary and Scary. No more Gurion. Gets the first. He's always been good in these kind of situations. Not this time. Paper Rex
Nice.
their foot down on round 10.
Dude, Jing is so good at raise that he even helps Defy go for a peek out with the blast pack. I don't even know if that's intentional, but this guy is goated with the blast packs. What a pinch in on the TP. No wonder they commit those ultimates right there. The orbital strike to push them out. Jing goes through. Once he gets the kill, Defy's there to make sure that he can keep Jing alive.
Yeah.
Classic Paper X Unbind. You got to watch out for those TP plays.
What's the play now? Something. Just a quick little pick on short. Smoke. Viper Wall gets put on front of his face, so he backs away a little bit, but you do see there's two players right behind him waiting for that quick assist just in case.
So he's never pushed out on A short. He's never been on A short with the operator. See if they're ready for it. That boot bot does let Retla know. Yeah, both of them kind of catching sight of each other. The Mosh will not land all the way.
It does give a bit of positioning, repositioning for something here. Yay gets that quick little contact. They throw the Dizzy. That's a lot of resources put just to get a bit of control on Hookah right now, and still Bleed are unaware of what's kind of waiting for them on the other side of this B site.
The problem also is that they don't have control of the TPs on the extremities, right? So you can't go for something like a Seeker play on B, see if there's enough members. If not, we rotate. If you use the Seekers now, I mean, they'll let you know where they might be, but it's not going to be great. Counter Seekers coming out. Now that's a good timing from Paper X. Lets you know that it's not the B site. That's not the main force. These Seekers are all going to A short and Bleed. They are being chased in by the Cabbages. Only 30 seconds. Now spotted. They have to follow the Seekers' lead.
There it is. Orbital Strike as well used to flush out Jing out of position. Actually works in their favor. As well as the Seekers actually blinding something somehow. That's going to be the start of the take.
Nice, Aaron.
Not blinded. It got stopped. It got delayed. This is not good. They have to rush right in. But you can see already Paper X trying to delay as much as they possibly can. This is not working in the favor of Paper X as Bleed stands their ground. Zest coming around and something. He wants to go again for the no-scope. Not going to happen this time. Redlow with a little bit of friendly fire, but it's not going to matter as Bleed pick up the round.
Oh, that was a dicey one. I mean, Mindfree could have been the absolute clutchest of kills to deny the spike plant there. Just a peek out of showers, recognizing that Bleed didn't have the time, didn't have control of the entire site. Overall, Retla fires back, knows that he's stuck in the orbital strike. They do their best, but yeah, I mean, they're just falling all the way over from showers. If that no-scope had hit, I mean, something's in the waters today, for sure.
Second no-scope of the day, no? In any case, though, that was just some great contact, and I think just great planting of their foot on the site. Not just, you know, planting the spike, but just holding their ground and making sure that they can just follow up what was already there. Oh, bit of trap being set up here between Defy as well as Jing.
These are getting shot down real fast. Bleed has to be ready for it. Sees him dash out, but that might be the extra trap now against Defy. Does he check for it? He does. He's just going to check the close corner. It's way too many smokes.
This wall is separating Jing as well as Zest. The rest of Bleed still somehow here on Hookah. Forsaken. Smoke's dropping down. There's the quick little contact against Ye. I think he wanted to try to escape right then and there, but not going to happen this time as Jing is alone for the moment until the rest of Paper X come in to assist.
Now Bleed, they still have 40 seconds. They had control of the TP as well, but they recognize that with the molly, with the smokes, it's safe. Now Retla still holding the lurk as well, but it's the long wraparound from something. They know that Retla's always been around somewhere to watch for the flanks.
Nice.
Good for one on the box.
Jing. Oh, they get two. This is the start.
Masih winnable.
Maybe retake the site.
But the reposition's there from Bleed, right? They still want to hold on to a crossfire no matter which way you come through. Zest constantly. Oh, he's not ready for the timing there.
Scary.
It's Scary all alone.
You can hear the footsteps too. Coming around the corner, no idea where something is! But he doesn't need to, he reads him like a book!
That was like a horror movie, right? You hear the footsteps get all the way right up to you and then it just disappears. You're like, where is he? Is he around the corner? Is he behind the door? And Scary just recognizes, if I'm not hearing you, you gotta be above. Gets the right read, it's a clutch from Scary. A much needed one. As now it's a 5-7 scoreline, not bad at all from Bleed.
Yep. This is the Scary movie. You know? The story of how Scary just keeps clutching against Paper X over and over and over again. What a monstrous read to clutch out that round, especially when, you know, we saw something already kind of pincering in from that mid position. You called it already. Red Dot's been spotted. They started losing so much of, I guess, their post-plan threats.
That's, by the way, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but that's RB's nephew.
Which one?
The little kid in the middle that's holding up the sign.
With the blue shirt?
Yeah, and I believe that kid's father behind him is, of course, RB's relatives, brother-in-law, I believe. Just also cheering for RB. The sign said, please watch RB over at VCT China as well. Yeah, they've been coming to a lot of the VCT games. It's great to see.
He's been doing really well.
Yeah, he's been playing his picks of agents as well.
Hell yeah.
Continuing to perform out there. But for now, eyes back on to another teammate of his, ex-teammate of his, Zest. Currently not having the greatest time on the scoreboard, but overall the team still hanging on with 5 points going into the second half now on defense for Bleed.
Let's see the defensive posture here for Paper Rex. Mindfreak is back to stem beacon, so it's going to be a quick little run through on B main, or B long, excuse me. Want to go for that quick little contact, while Bleed, on the other hand, is going to go the other way on mid.
Yeah, I'm curious. Pushing out from here does not seem to be the best because you can get pinched. Okay, but they're going to go with no audio. That I don't mind. I was afraid if they were going to go for a pop flash. They hear one footstep. They know it's just one as well. It's a quick peek out, and now you know that's got to be a lurk.
They are pincered in, excuse me. So if we do see the push out from Divine, might be able to actually get a couple of unnoticed kills here from the rest of Bleed.
Yeah, that's the tricky part, right? You thought that Forsaken was the lurk. Are you ready for a second lurk?
He's so far from the situation too, especially when you can see that Paper X have planted the spike on B. Might be spots up 2 coming in too long. Has the assistance of something right now. And here comes the firefight. Who's going to get right on top? It's going to be Paper Rex. 2 players of Bleed now coming in through TP.
Nice.
Drops right in. They're not wasting any time anymore. And Durian, he's still pretty high. He still also has the wingman, so if he somehow manages to push into this one, gets that contact against Jing, it might actually work out in his favor. Absolutely not going to happen at this point, since Jing was just waiting outside window.
Yeah, that frenzy doing wonders for Jing on that close range, able to take out the Dizzy and immediately get ready for the trade as well. And of course, the late wraparound for Divide. Darian's ready for it, so the good news for Bleed is that they were ready for a potential extra flank, right? They heard the TP, they're ready for it. Even as they were going to TP, you could see on the minimap that they were ready for a potential extra member. So they've got their heads on correctly here in the second half. But it's going to be Jing picking up quite a few kills, bringing him all the way up to 8.
Now they actually go for a massive peak, massive push on B long. You know, byproduct of that as well is they stop Zest from picking up an orb. So all those little things, right? In any case, High Tide separating PRX Octagon onto the B site actually works out in their favor, just in case that someone's there. And now they're just holding off, waiting for those smokes to drop down, and they drop their own.
Yeah, and Bleed, you know, they think they might be able to try to buy enough time. You showed the sky earlier, you put up a touch the screen, maybe that forces them to rotate back over to A. So you try to be one step ahead in the mind games, but this is Paper X we're talking about. They have the weapon advantage. They've got util. They will dive in. They always use that cove to kind of mask their entry. Works as a great shield, and now great post-plant scenario.
Yeah. You can already see what the plan is here for Bleed, is just not give the ult charges and just, you know, get taken by the spike explosion. Red holding on Hookah, but no one's going to be exiting the site from there, so unfortunately he's not going to find any chance to maybe go for next drag. By staying on the site, and he wants to go for the spike.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
This is so smart. So you have 3 Spectres, right? And you're thinking, whatever, we drop 1 Spectre, it's not the end of the day. It's a bonus round anyway, but if we get those Seekers online early, that's huge. I mean, I love it from Divide.
Yeah. And I mean, it's still, what, the bonus round here for Paper X, so he can just get himself a pistol if he wanted to, and that's going to be all hunky-dory for him.
He's even just going to buy up.
All right.
He says, you know what, with the plants and everything, we got enough money. Let's go right for it. I mean, either way you cut it, I think going for the ult orbs there, great plan from Divai.
Yeah. Especially when he's on a support agent, right? Why not? It goes to show how big brain the fisherman truly is.
And we see just an early Trailblazer coming out from that TP. It doesn't really gain you too much though, right? It's not like Bleed is able to hold on to Shower's control. They're just masking it as if they are there. But we'll have to keep an eye on that when it comes into play. Now, Paper X, of course, they don't exactly have someone on the hard lurk, so not much information to work with themselves. So Paper X, they will say, okay, let's re-clear where we think Bleed was, right, with the earlier smokes.
Yeah, if there's anyone holding Showers right now and they try to escape, that mosh pit is going to cut off their rotation. Not going to happen this time, though, as Paper Rex just goes in for the mad contact. Scary now throws out the molly. Is that going to be enough? The flash onto Divai by himself. The wingman not going to do anything else. And Scary gets away. Forsaken somehow manages to sneak up into the front of the site. High Tide goes down. As the dust settles, it's a 3-on-3. Redla finds that rotation from something. Forsaken got to have to go big onto this one, or else it's going to be Mind Freak all on his own. Gets the first little contact, and the Phantom fails him. That's going to be Scary with the refrag and the 3K for the controller here of Bleed.
Yeah, good hold from Bleed, and I love that eventually they do take control of Showers. Now, it doesn't work out. They don't win the trades, that's unfortunate. But at the very least, you know, in the grand scheme of things, their early util not entirely wasted. They are able to get that information nice and early, allow Scary to set up right at the entrance there. Just that, got him like just barely.
I like that. Just a quick, concise, nice.
Yeah, I mean, you got a long way to go. It's too early to celebrate just yet.
Fair enough. Oh, one more.
Nice.
That hurts. He was just showing off his shoulder, and you already saw something was so prepared for
Nice
it.
throw.
Vi does fall to Redla, but a refrag was already inevitable. Turion just barely missed the peek out from something on Cubby.
That's a good call, though. It's a good call. Doesn't want to make sure that he's spotted. There's the showstopper. Doesn't find the kill. A good spread from Bleed. It's going to be the pickups from the backup. Showstopper just going to be that bait. That's a 3v1. Not even Scary going to go for this one. It's not like it's map point. It's not match point. Says we've got a longer way to go.
Yeah.
You'll back off.
They have somebody to buy up into that next round as well.
That's a dicey one. I mean, two members at 0 creds, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Dead even on 0. Haven't seen that too often. Yeah, well, you know, now in this next round for Bleed, I mean, the Jewel Peaks, and this is the biggest change we've had with Bind, right, is not so much the map, but it's Sky.
Yeah.
Right, back in the day, you could always go for early guiding light, you know, test out B main, and back out of it. You can't do that anymore. You got to kind of risk your own life on there. If not, you will want to pair up with the Gecko. That way you can go for double util and then rotate one over to that A site. But that does mean you're kind of giving up control of, at the very least, A short.
And because of that, right, players that can just kind of match up or get those good reads on the body language of, you know, their opponents, gets that one up. Especially with something just, again knowing that because Zest hasn't truly spotted him, right? Because Zest was only, you get the line of sight from the eyes, so unless he like really goes out with his face peeking through something, he's not really going to get that contact that he wants to, even on the minimap, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so now it is going to be the early guiding light. Just wants to use it. If he doesn't get a spot, maybe even go for the orb. But now with that spot, okay, so Bleed, a bit of an adjustment, right? In the earlier rounds, they tried to put pressure and they tried to force a rotate out of Paper X. This time they say, nah, it's Paper X. They might still be coming here. Zest is ready for it with a Sheriff. Scary comes back for support. Pop flash just to buy time.
Ooh, too much. That's going to be the punish. Jing coming right in, a bit too over-aggressive as Redla coming around the corner. They have not cleared him at all, and he's about to explode. Actually repositions onto Octa. This is perfect right now. as it's a two-prong pinch just in case, but the smoke separates Dorian from assisting Retla. That's going to be the unfortunate case right then and there. That's a 2 versus 3 comes into swing. Dorian's got a chance maybe to peek out of elbow, but I mean, Device just so aware.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you already cut off the backup. The only one that you haven't really cleared is going to be elbow, so Paper Rex head on a swivel. It's a nice idea from Retla. I love the trigger discipline. Sticks around for it. Gets the weapon pickup as well, but just couldn't land the connecting shot.
Yeah. Again, just goes to show how much pressure there is on Bleed to, you know, individually just try to perform. You saw how much they just want to chase for these kills after that first one so they can net more advantages, but it's traps, man. It's Paper Rex luring you in. False sense of security. That damage done. Orbital strike. Oh, Dorian gets away. Both of them injured.
120. Nice.
Can at least double up with Zest, who's all the way on B long to maybe get healed, but that's far too away. They need to still hold on to the back of the site here, just in case.
Yeah, but that means Shower's control gone. You can't pick up the Thrash again. You already took damage as well. Darion will be going for the heal. But now you give up that entire area. And Paper X, they knew the op was here as well.
Yeah.
So they'll inch forward. They know which angles to now check for if the op is still set up on the A side. And now it's just going to be a classic 1-4. Forsaken will try to fish for information. Something's going to get the first pick. And Forsaken's now just on a free lurk.
Oh, no. He's
wrapping all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he knows. He hears him as well, right? So he's just giving that information. They're just going to pinch on him right here. They're getting tied up. This is all set up for Forsaken. The flash as well. I mean, Paper Rex absolutely toying with their food at this point. What a setup.
What a hard read. And now it's all down to Durian. We'll see here how the dedication of Durian stick with lead. Maybe.
Mungkin
Try to ramp him up. That's just Mind Freak already cutting off his approach to the B site. And we're here one more round. And Paper Rex, they're shooting themselves into the playoffs.
Yeah, with a nice clean 2-0 as well. Paper Rex obviously taking that kind of rough loss. Oh, what a drop there. And then a quick peek out against Ye. Ye was even holding that angle. Something just a bit quicker. One more round to go for Paper Rex. Wrap up their league play here in stage 1 with a nice 2-0 victory. Lock themselves in for playoffs over from the Omega group.
Yeah.
Bleed trying to do something different right now with the triple stack on Hookah, waiting maybe for somebody like Jing. Forsaken possibly even, because they know that he's been lurking somewhere on B by himself. So they're trying to time it here, Will, to go for that push out, but Forsaken's gone the opposite direction. And just in case it gets a little bit too hairy, he can always TP out of Showers.
Yeah, now the rest of the members, okay, it's just a showstopper, but he's not able to check all the corners right on time. And I was about to say, I mean, Bleed's positions, it did not seem great, right, compared to their teammates pushing all the way out of B. I mean, you're separated over on A, and Gary gets spotted right by the smoke.
And there's the flank.
It's all falling apart. Scary will get 1 kill, but it's still a 2v3. No control of this site by Bleed.
Yeah, Spike has yet to be planted though, but 40 seconds. Paper X not rushing. They can just reposition as much as they can. Wait for the high tide from Forsaken to come in, because now they know that 2 players of Bleed are going to be coming through here on a short reckoning for that extra bit of safety. They're trying to pop shot through the high tide here, maybe just to hopefully get a pick through the wall, through the smoke. There is just so much risk that Bleed are trying to get into as they rummage their way into the site.
Yeah, but look at Mind Freak. He's already on the wraparound once again. Or are they going to be ready for it?
Guessing.
Got the pit.
He's got a molly too, so just in case he can't find him inside the Viper's pit, that's when it can be thrown out.
This is not the greatest spot, right? They don't realize that it's on the other side now.
Oh, barrel!
Oh, what a shot from Forsaken as well. And that will just be Paper X ending the game 2-0. Not breaking a single sweat.
They're going to be what? Our 4th team right now that will be heading into the playoffs here at Split 1. What
I mean, Paper X fans will say, never doubted him, right? Never was worried. I think some of you were shaking a little bit after that Team Secret game, but Paper X, they're right back in form. And meanwhile, for Bleed, I mean, it's a bit of a heartbreaker. You know, we saw a couple of games where they looked like they might be starting to gain some confidence, but it's a tough schedule here at the end. Of course, they still have one more match this weekend against DRX. See if Bleed can prove that they are still on the up and up, getting ready for stage 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of things that Legia was mentioning in that interview where it feels like there's still so much more potential that can be developed here in Bleed. Right now, honestly, against this match against Paper X, I think we still see that, right? There's so much more proactiveness that we've been seeing from Bleed here. Sure, there were some times where they would want to go for those challenge kills, but who wouldn't want to go for those, right? If you get an advantage, it's going to be perfect. Anyways, we're going to be passing it on to our panel to discuss this massive series even further.
Well, Paper Rex can now breathe easy. They have that playoffs secured. And for Bleed, unfortunately, the story continues for them, and it's only going to get harder and harder from this point out.
Yeah, I mean, there's still that one more match. It's against another Titan, but, you know, they still have that chance. Meanwhile, I mean, I want to say that on this map, Bleed brought the fire with them. This looked a lot more competitive than Ascent, and they had some insane thrifty rounds and crazy sheriff shots. It was a little bit difficult for Paper X at times, but that said, when you continue on through, Paper X just start to get in the flow of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bleed certainly looked better, but Paper X also had some ridiculous moments, right? Like this shot here from something adds a little classic tap for good measure. Paper X, like they said, single sweat broken. They kind of looked like they were having a lot of fun. You know, something was really popping off this time. Divide was consistent as always, had some crazy moments, and you know, they're going to playoffs. I think we could have predicted that at the beginning of the season, but, you know, some ups, some downs, certainly a big up for them in this one. And going to be curious to see what their level is going to be like going into playoffs. This, for them, obviously, they were the big favorites, and they made it look that way.
It's sort of like balance restored, I guess. It's like Paper X in playoffs, okay. Calm down, everybody. It's fine, but we couldn't have predicted that this was the road they would take, right? Especially since, you know, we did see them falter in quite a few matches, but here they are. It's secured. They can breathe easy. They can recuperate and regroup for what is about to come. And right now, we do have our guess and gain segment. And as you can see, somebody took a risk. I commend that risk, but unfortunately it didn't pay off this time. We had the question, will Zest finish the first half with the most kills within the team? Unfortunately, Zest only got 2 kills during the first half, and Scary, I believe, was the one who got 14. So this means that people are moving up and a duck is moving down. We have
someone's taking the lead.
Ducks are people. I'm sorry, Quack. Ducks are people too. I'm gonna put you over here. It's Silver, and wow, look at you, Mister.
I know.
Look at you.
I'm ascending. I am just a couple of steps away from Radiant, which is definitely my Valorant rank.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it for sure.
Just one more step, easy. We haven't gone down yet. I've only been on this test twice.
Come with me, viewers. You are now with me. We are here in Platinum. Hey.
Good job,
it's like real life, believe me. But yes, now we have Valdez, who is like, you are like looking down from your ivory tower here at everybody, sir.
Yeah, it feels good to be king.
And you've only done this with like, how many times have you been on panel?
This is my second time.
How is this possible? Can we have a recap?
I have only gotten 2 correct. One of them was a double pointer, so I went up to Diamond on my first day, and then I just got this one right. So I forget what that one was. I remember the one that got canceled was there was, you know, who would get thrifty first, but nobody got a thrifty.
I don't know, see, but you'll get it.
And you realize Asarai is like trying so hard at this game, and you show up on panel twice, and you're suddenly, you know.
Asarai is the predictor, and I'm the guess and
we all have our strengths. We all have our strengths in different.
What's your strength,
We'll find that. That is your journey for Pacific. We're gonna find that. But right now, definitely PRX, their strength is on, playing maps exactly this way, right? We saw that fearlessness come back. We saw, what Paper Rex is like when they're feeling so comfortable. As you mentioned, Valdez, right? They come up with those really cheeky plays. They come up with those fearless, in-your-face plays as well, Quack.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, the way that they started out on this map, especially with a defensive half, they were controlling those flames from Bleed. They were firemen. They were moving them where they wanted to go, and then they extinguished them. I mean, the way that they control this map was to play around the teleporter, and that's how you want to play around Bind. Bleed were often forced to try to explore around the map, but they couldn't really go around the teleporters, so it's always a little bit difficult. And at times, they just resorted to baiting out those utilities from Paper Rex and then trying to go in for an all-in play. But Paper Rex were prepared. I mean, you had something on that operator. That one round where he got, it might have been a no-scope against Ye. Ye tried to break his ankles, and something was like, no, my ankles are unbreakable. So Paper Rex, I mean, they just flow all together. They win off of, synergy and chemistry, and they knew exactly what to do. I will say, though, Scary puts up great numbers all the time. I actually want to make a comparison between him and Mako, because this guy and Mako are always great for the 1v1s. The one difference is Scary sometimes isn't always with the team. He's a little bit further back, and he's able to get those wins and kills, but not always able to pull out together with that.
Top GG, mid top G.
Not always a cohesive effort.
It's just another thing that Bleed have to work through, right? As we go on throughout the year, you're dealing with 5 players that have very different playstyles. They all have their own ideas, and it's going to take some time, of course, for that to really gel, right? Whereas you have Paper Rex, and they've been playing together for years already. They know this composition. It's just a matter of fine-tuning it for this certain situation.
Yeah, it really did feel like, individual players, good individual moments for Bleed, even better on the second map, but the difference in terms of team synergy and strategy on Bind was it was huge. There was actually a really big gap. So obviously the Paper Rex members individually are fantastic as always, but it just felt like a big team diff in terms of all the stuff that Bleed are still going through, still trying to figure out, still trying to work out the kinks, and on the side of Paper Rex, it's just super smooth sailing, yeah.
Yeah, business as usual, for sure. And for Paper Rex, eager to see them, of course, in the playoffs. If they're looking like they're in this shape, as we started out, of course, we did see those rocky moments, right? But it looks as though, Paper Rex, they're really coming into this, into their peak form once again, Quack.
Yeah, peak global esports, peak Bleed. Into playoffs, you never quite know. Will they pull out different agents again? You're kind of not sure. Flow, please. Yeah, right.
I'm still banking on Paper Rex being the first that brings out the flow.
I would want to believe so, but you never quite know. I mean, because right now you brought out the Sage, you're back with that Harbor Gecko combo, and something playing Gecko also with an operator still landing insane shots. It's just the fact that at least for this matchup, they've been together a really long time. Meanwhile, Bleed, maybe a month, and there's so much work to do. Meanwhile, Paper Rex is just so comfortable.
Yeah, I think for Bleed, if you're a Bleed fan, obviously should be a lot of you still. I think it's a bit of a disappointing loss. They didn't really look as good as they did last week, but they still need a lot of time, so don't give up on them yet, and hope they have a chance. They still have a chance to make playoffs as well. They're not totally out of it, so we'll just have to wait and see how they look in that match against DRX.
There still is something there, but something is, of course, on the side of Paper Rex. We have to put that joke in there somehow, some way, right? We're going to send it to Jen, who is on stage right now for our post-series interview. So, Jen, take it away.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I am down here on stage with Paper Rex's Davai after their dominant 2-0 win. Now, congratulations, Davai. Playoffs clinched with this win. Are you relieved? And will you be able to sleep with both eyes closed today?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of halfway there. I mean, job is not done, but yeah, halfway there. I think tonight will be a very good sleep, for us. So yeah, very happy about it, and I'm pretty sure the team felt the same way,
What are your thoughts going up against Bleed?
I think it was even though the score looks one-sided or whatsoever, but I think it was a hard game for us. We feel that they were trying something slow, and playing against a slow team is not something that we are used to, you know. So yeah, I mean, we definitely have to be smarter, I would say, in terms of reading their gameplay and stuff. So yeah, I would say it was a hard game.
You said it was a hard game, so do you think Alex is smiling right now or kind of angry at the moment?
I think definitely not slamming the table, you know. So yeah, definitely.
That's good. That's good. You got the job done. Now let's talk about that comp on Ascent, because we saw something very similar to that comp today in Masters Tokyo when CGRS was on the team. You guys played the Fate instead of the Sova, but pretty much the idea was the same. So why bring this back?
I think for Ascent, we kind of feel like the old comp was good, but I think we don't think that it's us, you know. It's more like towards defensive side, and it's not so explosive, you know. And that's why we trying the old com again, and we feel like, oh, maybe we should just take the old com, I mean this com.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just feel like it wasn't really ourselves, you know, playing so defensive and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The last comp really didn't kind of suit you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we're playing too defensive, kind of like too scared, and
wasn't
we're expecting.
you, right? Yeah. You just have to be you. Anyways, that put Forsaken on the Sova. So, coming from a Sova guy, how would you rate his Sova?
I mean, my Sova isn't the greatest, you know. I mean, but compared to other good Sova players, for example, like Sasi Com, I think his Sova did a pretty good job. But I would rate his Fate better than the Sova on Ascent. On Ascent, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
But still got the job done as well.
Obviously, I mean, it's Forsaken, you know.
Always
so,
do.
Yeah. Always there to do the job.
Now, with how everyone's been playing so far, would you say PaperX is ready for playoffs and that you guys are in that playoffs form? Are you guys happy with how you guys perform individually as well?
I think I would say we kind of like halfway there, but at least we win a lot of pistol rounds and not a lot of thrifty, you know. So I'm kind of not used to that, but yeah, I mean, we win some rounds, you know. So
it's good.
I mean, definitely a positive feelings, I would say, inside the team. Like people are more happier, obviously, because we are winning, right? So yeah, I would say we kind of like ready, but also maybe need a little bit more dry run to run few more shots and stuff, you know. I mean, people are gonna study us from these matches and stuff. So yeah, we're gonna try even harder from here.
I guess
nice.
the job laid out for playoffs, but here's a hard question. I know it's kind of a authorized to make predictions, but who do you think is going to be the last two teams to make it to playoffs? We have Genji, Team Secret, DRX, PaperX already in the playoffs. So
if I had to choose two teams from the list, I'm not too sure about the ranking orders, but if I had to choose, probably I would go for Talon and another one probably Zeta. I think. Yeah.
Alright, Talon and Zeta.
Yeah.
Alright. Is this from like the scrims or
I mean, kinda, we kinda screamed them a few times and they're looking good, like both of them, you know. So yeah, I mean, if I had to choose two teams from there, I would go for these two.
Alright. I'll maybe
Tapi kalau kudu menang lawan
coming from you, right? Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Davai. Congratulations once again. I'll see you in playoffs.
Yep.
And that was Davai with the post-match interview. I'm tossing it off to a short break, but don't go anywhere because when we come back, it'll be Global Esports taking on DFM. We'll see you soon.
Nice banget. Ya, DFM menang. Ya, udah ke playoff itu Ji. Oke. Udah ke playoff itu. Thank you buat yang udah nonton. Kita lanjut lagi saat waktu RRQ main, berarti Senin. Oke, thank you buat semua. Bye. Thank you buat Volvin sama Farisa yang udah nonton. Thank you.